23, 24, 25.
24 and 25.
What about 20? Oh, 22's at 1. So 23, the draft community housing strategy, is... You've got questions on that. Well, hang on a minute. Delegations for Christchurch Cathedral reinstatement. I'm happy to move the recommendations. Seconded by Andrew. Is there any discussion? I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. The opportunity to revoke redundant external policies. Happy to move. Sam McDonald. Seconded Aaron Kewen. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Have we got time to do the draft community housing strategy? Can you give us an extra 5 minutes?
Do you want to do the health and safety minutes?
They've all been done.
We've done all the minutes.
Oh, we've done one.
Yeah. So, okay, housing strategy. If we just go a little bit over time, that's okay. Because I think the people that were not going to be here aren't here already, so...
Sure.
Do you want to take it as read and go straight to questions? Yep. Sam.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just trying to find the page. I'm just trying to understand the financial implication of this. So we've talked about, I'll bring it up. So for 5.19, further stock that is anticipated to be due for upgrading during the next LTP is 482 units at the cost of 14.3 million. Can you just talk me through, I mean, the whole housing stock is in theory rates neutral, isn't it? But can you just talk through the financial implications of that? I mean, what does that actually mean, that 14.3 million?
Sure. So this relates to the housing fund as it currently operates, as it receives monies back from the trust through the leasing. So at the moment, this is a budget for the ongoing repair and maintenance of those units over about the next 10 years or so. So that's essentially all that the fund allows for at this point in time. So after that, then the fund starts to build up through the dividend through the lease to replace some existing stock. So we've noted there that this is pending the further scoping of works. Okay. So that's our property folks' best estimate at this point.
So when we talk about it being rates neutral, is there a use of money or a use of capital portion that comes back to council based on the value of all the homes we have? Or is that I mean, because there is an interest cost to the wider borrowing that we have, is there a portion that comes back to council?
If I'm just trying to unpick your question a little bit, so as you'll be aware, in terms of the lease that we do to the trust, so as it stands at the moment, there has been some recent discussion on this, of course. So the trust carries out the minor maintenance, and then we get a dividend back for the major maintenance and the ultimate replacement of stock. So yes, at that level, our social housing is rates neutral in terms of the way the fund operates. I'm just trying to
pick up, I guess, though, that the opportunity cost of having council equity tied up in these properties. Is there and we talk about being rates neutral, it technically isn't rates neutral, is it? Because we could be using that money somewhere else. Or is there a charge that goes back to the wider rates pool or the wider council to be used in other parts for the use of those homes?
No, there's not a charge that goes back. If anything, our stock is a rate payer. Money that does come back to council, if you think of it like that. I think your question may be, through you, Ms Mayor, a wider question around the opportunity cost in terms of the equity and the value of a portfolio, if I'm understanding the question correctly.
I understand the question, but it's not... It's a technical question rather than a...
Well, I'm just trying to understand if we're in fact rates neutral or not. So.
Well, yeah... No, it's not. It is worth having that conversation. I mean, this is a proposal to put a draft out for public consultation. That is an issue that has been raised before, and of course the history of the original housing stock was, of course, extremely low interest government loans. Dating back into the very early days, and so it wasn't. the input into the stock wasn't quite the normal capital investment that leads to a simple answer to your question. It's not a simple question to answer.
And I'll just have one more if that's okay, and then
Yeah.
So just the one thing I couldn't see in here was, and maybe I've missed it, was our need to fix the problem between the ownership between the housing trust and us. Is that something that should be in here in terms of? I mean, I know we've talked about it, the need to get them off everything off our books and into the housing trust. There's nothing in here. We're not going out to talk about the need to transfer it over.
We've already consulted on that. If we were in a position to do that, we would do that.
But I'm just saying, why aren't we considering it now again?
Because if the law allowed us to do that, where we could protect our financial interest in the housing stock, then we have already consulted on it, and consultation wouldn't be required before we made the transfer.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand why we aren't looking to explore that with central government, because there could be a solution.
Yes, we are looking to explore it, but at the moment it's because OCHT is it's a community housing provider, and under the trust law, the properties, if the trust were to fail, the property has to be transferred to another agency. That's the only thing that's standing in the way. We do not need to consult on that because we have the power to do it if we want to. But the law hasn't changed. Yeah. Yeah.
Can OCHT not be doing this at all? It can't. Is it what you just said?
No.
Are we doubling up here?
Look, my preference would be to transfer all of the properties to OCHT.
And
right?
that wouldn't need this
and
to be done?
And that's what we... No. We've been through this so many times.
But there's a lot of time and effort being going on by these guys to do this. Why don't you just throw it all at OCHT and say do it all yourself?
This is broader.
Okay.
Sorry, this is broader than, it's a broader strategy, and it is to engage the public in a wider conversation about investing in community housing. And the language has been very deliberately changed from social housing to community housing to talk more expressively about the range of housing that's both affordable and rental. So it's on both sides of it.
So it's model agnostic. It doesn't prevent what yourself, Phil, and Sam have indicated. It actually enables it if the council wishes to do so and if the law would allow it. This is your housing strategy. Think about it like that.
Yeah. And we've also got CCHL looking at options as well, Sam, so as you know. So, and the reason we've got a range of options being looked at is to actually resolve this side of it, which is to ensure that the focus, and this is the OCHT side of it, OCHT has, that they have a fully wraparound but a wider extent of links into, job connections and various other things, which is actually looking at people's whole lives rather than just the renting side of their life. But Pauline, you want to move it?
I'll second.
And seconded by Andrew. Is there any wider debate?
Should Phil and I participate in this or not? Does it matter that we're on the Housing
No.
Trust? No. Okay.
So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.
And thank Paul for the amazing work you've done on this too. It's really
Record
good.
Sam against.
Emma, yeah.
Thank you, Ms Mayor.